Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Royal Sussex Live. Welcome, one and all. Thank you so much for being here. Do you know, I thought I was, uh, I don't need to tell you, I thought I was already live. I don't need to tell you that, do I? I'm just, I was talking and talking and talking and wasn't even on. Ain't that something? I thought I was live and I'm just talking up a storm and wasn't even live yet. Wow. Anyway, no intro today. Kind of snuck up on you, didn't I? Welcome, Carol Lund. Thank you so much for being first. Uh, hey, Maurice Brown. Thank you for being here. Cami Bluetooth. Um, if I was you, I would rethink that name, Bluetooth. But no, it's okay. It's okay. Cami Bluetooth. Let me see. Oh man. Anyway, hey Lydia Washington. Let me see. Angela May. Ooh. All right. So no intro. Kind of snuck up on you, didn't I? All of a sudden, there I was, right there next to you. Okay. And because I thought I had logged on already, I was singing while I was waiting for the slides to come up. Y'all missed a really good song. I was in rare form today. Let me see. Okay. Well, that's what friends are for. Yep, that's what friends are for. Um, oh man. Okay, I'll just try not to think about it. Now, well, look at there. 45.8 million views. Let me see. Is it still 45.8? Yes, it's 45.8 million views. And that's only if you count the views that are on um, Instagram. Yeah, that's only if you count the views that are on Instagram. 48.5 million views. All right. Let's see here. Now, gorgeous in green, if you say so. Camilla makes surprise appearance at Women's Prize for Fiction in a what is that 599-pound peacock dress. Well, that's kind of a is it an oxymoron? No, is that redundant? Um, Unexpected. I'm trying to think. What am I trying to say? Because when you think peacocks, of course, you think beautiful, colorful, not dull and colorless and um, teetering on the edge of the next world. You don't think of that when you think of a peacock. Anyway, I think this is an absolute disgrace because we know that Princess Diana was being abused by the press, and we suspect, but we can't say, you know, we can only suspect that Charles and Camilla may be responsible for a lot of very stressful, painful moments that Diana had gone through. Well, I mean, I guess we can say that. I mean, after all, Charles was with another woman, right? Charles eventually married another woman. But up until the time that Diana died tragically in that tunnel in Paris, we know that life had been made very, very difficult for Diana. And it's been so many steps along the way. And that's what's very cruel about that family is that just as with the Sussexes, you have the Cambridges mimicking every move that they make, somehow trying to insert their images in the same likeness or situations, such as Harry and Meghan have cultivated for themselves. Then, of course, you got this heretic right here who uses Diana's dressmaker, the one she put on the map. He was pretty much a nobody before Diana. Um, didn't have a second thought about going to Paris. We all know how tragic that was for Diana. And of course, the press, the people that Diana tried to make peace with, those were actually her friends then and her friends now. A lot of the hatchet stories against Diana has been inspired by this person. Not to mention, even in death, Diana is subject to many a negative story. And I would say that if you were to follow the thread, tug on that thread, eventually, and this is pretty gruesome, but eventually you would find that the queen consort would be completely naked because all of that thread is attached to her and whatever horrendous outfit she's wearing that day. Um, but yeah, she's a dreadful person, an absolutely dreadful person, and just like with the what is it, the chapel, the patron saint of the press or whatever, that saint that they adopted. Same thing here. Uh, just to show you how much irony there is. Um, of course, she would have something to do with women's abuse, right? She would join some kind of something for abused women. Of course she would. Of course she would. Yep, of course she would. And now this time, anyway, that's enough for her. Oh, Queens joins a short list of authors and former winners to celebrate 30th anniversary of Women's Prize in Fiction. Yeah, she is a source of fiction. Now, William and Kate's work ethic under fire as palace staff grows frustrated. Um, the palace is frustrated. Uh-oh. Oh boy. Okay, sorry. Let me get that. Okay. The palace staff is frustrated. At least that's the latest media spin, which reports that Prince William and Kate Middleton's so-called attitude change is upsetting royal staff. The implication that something new is afoot, but William and Kate's aversion to full-time royal work is nothing new. It's just finally becoming harder to ignore. The thing is, before they would write freely about how lazy they are, how adverse they are to work. But now they have to try to cover for them using the children, using Kate's illness, using Kate's illness for William, right? It's a twofer. It is a twofer. You get two royals out of commission for the price of one. Okay, it continues. It says, since their early days as newlyweds, the Prince and Princess of Wales have carefully managed their public image. Eager smiles, coordinated outfits, stage family moments, but their actual workload has remained light. Their defenders say their focus on raising children. Their critics, including the British press for most of the 2010s, remember, past tense, the 2010s, called them lazy. And for over a decade, the court circular has offered a consistent paper trail to back that claim. As a matter of fact, I have quite a few headlines that remind you of their laziness, their very poor work ethic. Palace frustration grows over William and Kate, but public image can only carry so much weight behind palace walls. Despite being seen as the monarchy's future, William and Kate's reluctance to prioritize royal duties is reportedly wearing thin. Multiple outlets, including the Scottish Express and the Telegraph, now confirm that many suspected palace aides are growing tired of the Waleses' insistence on doing things their own way. And let me just interject here. Why are they doing things their own way? Because Harry and Meghan are doing things their own way. Don't forget that. The only reason why they insist on doing things their own way is because they want to follow in the footsteps of the Sussexes. You know, it was a time when the upper class, the wealthy, they were the ones that the rest of society followed. And now, let's face it, across the world, there's a bottom up flow of, I guess, inspiration for the masses. And so more people are wearing casual wears, what the so-called street clothes, or, things have kind of become less formal in this world. But still, as an institution that's 1,000 years old, you're supposed to lead the population when it comes to work ethic, when it comes to duty. You're supposed to lead. They're not leading. They have decided to join the unemployed. They're acting like the unemployed. There are unemployed people that work harder than they do. Anyway, they may top a few palace-friendly polls, but behind the scenes, that popularity isn't stopping staff from losing patience. Staff have allegedly described Kate as a part-time royal, even before her 2024 cancer diagnosis. And while William publicly supported her recovery, he still found time for solo trips, attending the Euros in Germany, the Earthshot event in South Africa, without matching that energy for domestic duties, meaning, of course, that he has more energy to go overseas than he has for his domestic work. But William made it very clear that he was planning to be a royal with a small r. William made it very clear that he was going to do things differently. As a matter of fact, he said after the Caribbean tour, where they lost half of the Commonwealth, he said that the don't ask, don't tell is no longer a thing, that they're not following that. Not the don't ask, don't tell. That's the other part of his life. The never explain, never complain. Yeah, there you go. They said they're not following that anymore. They are going to explain and complain. So everything contradicts, I would say, Queen Elizabeth's way of work. So, according to the Telegraph, King Charles had to order William to attend the Pope Francis's funeral. Also, let me interject this too. Remember, William's godfather, King Constantine of Greece, his godfather, William didn't go to the funeral. Afro Annie went to the funeral. Okay, so to make up for it, we'll have William read at Constantine's memorial service, which took place a year after his death. And what happened? William, without explanation, he pulled out of it 15 minutes before he was supposed to be there. Unusual for a royal. And they told us that at that time, William did not pull out of the event because of Kate Middleton's illness. They swore up and down that was not the point. Then, without explanation, without anyone provoking them, 4 of the usual royal rotas decided to tell us out of the blue that William's absence from the memorial service had nothing to do with Thomas Kingston, even though nobody brought it up. They started singing like Aretha Franklin. Nobody asked them. And all of a sudden, they're telling us that we shouldn't assume anything about that because it had nothing to do with that. Nobody brought it up. Nobody. I mean, take a look at this. Listen, no one would have given his Thomas Kingston serious lament, but for the royal rota immediately saying William had nothing to do with his death. And there's Richard Eden, Rebecca English, Kate Manzi, and Roy Anika. These are some heavy hitters here. These are the ones, especially Rebecca English. She is a mouthpiece for the palace. Nobody brought that up. And there she is, along with Roy Anika, Kate Manzi, and Richard Eden. Contrary to speculation online, Prince William's absence from today's memorial service for King Constantine of Greece was not because of the tragic death on Sunday of Tom Kingston, husband of Lady Gabriella Windsor. Okay, but nobody asked you. And then Kate Manzi. It is important to note that this is not believed to be the reason why Prince William pulled out of today's memorial service. Okay, but I actually wasn't even thinking that. Rebecca English. It's worth noting this is as she's biting into a chocolate eclair or probably some type of confectionate. She goes, it's worth noting it has been confirmed that Prince of Wales' absence from the memorial for King Constantine today was for a personal matter not connected with the news of Mr. Kingston's death. And by the way, pay no attention to the bruises that you're going to see. And then Roy Anika says, royal sources say the death of Mr. Kingston is not connected to the Prince of Wales's absence from King Constantine's memorial service today. Again, nobody asked. They just volunteered that information quite randomly and out of the blue. Anyway, Mail Online sarcastically applaud the couple for managing two engagements in a single day, calling William work shy. Parade ran a heading about their lazy lifestyle. Oh, they must mean Parade magazine. Yeah, Parade ran a heading about their lazy lifestyle. Life and Style magazine quoted Queen Elizabeth II calling Kate the Duchess of Doolittle. Which, by the way, Queen Elizabeth and no one working for her ever denied that. At one point, Even Prince William's aides admitted his private nickname for her echoed that criticism, a gentle dig from the late Queen herself. There are numerous, I'm sorry, there, the numerous, the numbers told the same story. In 2015, Kate completed just 62 engagements. William, then in his early 30s and not burdened with parenthood alone, barely did more. In 2017, Kate logged 105 engagements, still far behind Princess Anne's 400 plus. The contrast was stark. While older royals in their 60s and 70s showed up week after week, the Welleses took extended holidays, spent long stretches in Norfolk, and made headlines mostly for their outfits. Fast forward to 2023, and by the way, thank you, Feminagra, for this. I love Feminagra. Fast forward to 2023, the pattern hadn't changed. Kate Middleton recorded 123 engagements. Now remember, this means Zoom calls. You know, that's one of the things that changed for them is that Zoom calls were available, and those Zoom calls counted as an engagement. So you could actually do several things in one day if plan it, or if they have someone plan it, right? Prince William managed 172. King Charles, despite looming health issues, completed 425. Princess Anne topped the charts again with 457 appearances. Even Prince Edward and Duchess Sophie had more public facing duties than the future king and queen. Now, let's go here, and you can see there's Kate. Even the Duke of Kent, who is in failing health, the Duke of Kent, as fragile as his health is, has managed more public engagements this year than Kate. Twice her age, more than twice her age, I bet, has still managed more public occasions than Kate. Followed by the Duke of Gloucester. William, that's really sad. Look at where he is. I'm sorry, that's Duchess of Gloucester, William, then the Duke of Gloucester, Sophie, Godzilla, Edward, Anne, and Charles. Now, of course, we know Anne has not been as very well this year. Charles, 250 engagements as of May, and he's supposed to be the sick one, right? Kate say whatever wrong with her is behind her, but Charles is supposed to be the one that's sick. He's the one who's incurable, according to the papers. And yet he still managed to squeeze out more than 250 engagements. And Kate, dead last. And notice how they have this chart. Why did they put Kate up there at the top? Let me see, who did this chart? Right Royalty. They put Kate up at the top and put Charles at the bottom. Shouldn't that be inverted? I've never seen a graph where they put the most at the bottom instead of the top. Even this has some kind of agenda. Oh, the Duke of Kent is 90 and had 2 strokes and still outworked Kate Middleton. That is sad. That is sad. Wow. Okay, let's take a look at this chart. Now, this is the way you're supposed to have the chart. See what I'm saying? Who did this? Who did this? Anyway, the number of engagements worked in 2023. Anne, then Charles, the Duke of Edinburgh, the Queen, the Duchess of Edinburgh. Um, and I guess at this point that would be the Wessex people. Anyway, why do they even have Harry? Why do they have him here? Why is Harry here? Lord have mercy. I didn't even notice that before. But why is Harry here? And they don't even have Meghan there, which is good, but they shouldn't have Harry there either. Those people are sick. Wow. Mm. Oh, well, that is weird. Yeah, she should get off that bench before she gets a splinter. So anyway, that is oh, am I through with the article? No, just the charts. In 2024, Kate stepped back from duty following cancer diagnosis, but even before her illness, the Wellses' work ethic had long been in question. What's changed is not their behavior, but the institution's ability to hide it. That's the only thing that has changed. That's why William is so angry about those photos on their holiday, because usually they don't get papped. They usually don't get papped. But that is why he was so angry, because when they should have been working, they had this huge spread of photos that they're on a ski holiday. And William was hot about that. And of course, they said that he's thinking about suing. But remember, Harry is supposed to be the litigious member of the family. Let's see, where is that at? There it is. Prince William's temper boiling over after French media published invasive photos. Unacceptable. Well, y'all shouldn't have went skiing for the third time. And when was that? April? Was that April or March? They've had several vacations this year. Let me see. While Charles underwent cancer, is that where I left off? Oh, yeah. While Charles underwent cancer treatment, he still managed state visits and ceremonial role. Anne, who turned 74 this year, completed 217 engagements in the first half of 2024 alone. Edward and Sophie picked up more overseas travel. The Gloucesters, well into their 70s and 80s, often outpaced the younger royals. Meanwhile, William and Kate's appearances became rarer, more curated, and increasingly disconnected from the heavy lifting of the monarchy. And speaking of Kate, she has been a working royal for 14 years. In that time, she never cracked 150 engagements in a single year, never exceeded that. She has launched no global recognized initiatives, authored no landmark reports, and rarely represents the UK abroad outside of ceremonial tours. She is known for coat dresses and Christmas concerts. Yeah, she is more. She is known more for coat dresses and Christmas concerts than for policy, diplomacy, or institutional impact. Other royal women turn titles into impact, while Kate relies on optics. Meanwhile, the other royal women with comparable status or even less institutional power have built legacies defined by substance and not soft focused PR. Queen Letizia of Spain, once a celebrated journalist, now leads national conversations on education and child health. She chaired UNICEF initiatives, tackled misinformation during the pandemic, and regularly represents Spain in Latin America, where she promotes development aid and cultural diplomacy. Could you imagine Kate Middleton trying to take a trip to South America by herself? Could you imagine Kate taking a trip to Canada or the United States by herself? And truth be told, the only time that Kate has ever gone abroad without William on official royal duty was that trip to Denmark, the one they're still trying to figure out what was she here for? What was that about? That was the only time that she's ever gone abroad. Queen Maxima of the Netherlands brings economic policy to the global stage. As the UN Secretary General Special Advocate for Inclusive Finance, she's helped expand access to financial services in over 60 countries, directly contributing to the rise of global account ownership from 51% in 2011 to 76% in 2021. I don't know what that means, but okay. Then there's Rania, is it Rania? Rania of Jordan, who doesn't just post about education, she reformed an entire system. Her foundation trained teachers, modernized curricula, and integrates refugee children into public school. She speaks at the UN not for visibility, but because she shapes real policy. By comparison, Kate's resume reads like a royal starter pack. A few safe campaigns, occasional patron visits, and more photo ops than measurable outcomes. Wow. Well, I mean, you guys, not to be rude, but just imagine Kate trying to chair some official anything, anywhere. The outcome would be devastating. The outcome would be devastating because she can't talk. She simply cannot talk. They want you to believe that she is chairing all of these meetings and such and holding these power lunches and all of those things, knowing darn well that that is not true. You couldn't, I mean, come on. So, let me see.
Well, obviously it'd be, I would love to have met her, and she's obviously, she's an inspirational woman to look up to, obviously to this day, and, you know, going forward and things. You know, it is, you know, it's a wonderful family. The members who I've met have achieved a lot, and, you know, very inspirational. So, yeah, I do.
You sure did, girl. And she was about 30 years old. That's not a teenager. Wasn't she 30 years old? 31? Remember, William made her wait 10 years before he asked the question. So at that point, she was a fully developed adult. But, you know, someone very reliable did once accuse her of having a baby brain. And now that I think of it, I mean, I'm sure Meghan didn't mean it that way, but but now I had to really wonder, when Meghan said baby brain, exactly whatever did she mean? Did she mean baby brain or baby brain. I guess it all depends on how you see it. So, uh, anyway, I mean, well, we all know she didn't mean it that way, right? Bird brain, maybe, but not baby brain. Her brain is fully developed. I don't care what nobody say. Her brain is fully developed. Ain't nothing wrong with her head. Okay. Anyway, we're almost done with this article. I love this article. I have to keep this one. The excuses keep evolving. First, it was early parenting, right? She couldn't do anything because she was raising those kids. She's raising the next king. Then it was pandemic restrictions. Then came Harry and Meghan's departure, which supposedly overwhelmed the Cambridges. According to Tatler, in recent years, royal reporters rebranded Kate's light workload as an impactful strategy. William's Earthshot Prize was sold as a legacy project, though he routinely skips key climate summits and panels. His joint appearance with Sophie has been so rare that Hello magazine ran a feature which they stared. What is that? Stared a tent. Ran a feature when they shared, not stared. Maybe I should check my glasses. When they shared a tent once in 2 years. Stared. Lord have mercy. Okay, now aides are frustrated, but this isn't sudden. What's changed in the press? They documented William and Kate's weak work ethic in the 2010s, but the arrival of Meghan gave them a shinier, more profitable target. Her glamour sold papers. Now, 5 years after her exit, they're back to where they started. Only this time, the Welleses are even more absent and far less bankable. Perhaps the drip of insider frustration is the media's warning: be the popular royals they need or get called out. Yeah, be the popular royals they need or get called out. You can't run a monarchy on vibes and helicopter photos. The numbers are plain, and anyone paying attention and still logs 400 plus engagements annually. The heavy lifting now falls to aging royals, and the future of the crown keeps skipping shifts. So there you go. That was Feminagra. And thank you, Feminagra, for that compelling story. All right, let me take a look at a couple of your comments here. Doesn't have a brain. Let me see. Kate went to Denmark to discuss with Mary how to cope with cheating husband and concerns for when she's also a queen with the cheating husband. The alleged cheating husbands, of course, but I get you. Let me see here. Yeah, she has that vanity degree in art history. And in spite of that, she still had to ask the man at the what was it, at the museum that time. She didn't seem to know much about the Fabergé egg right in front of her. I think most people know what a Fabergé egg looks like, but not baby brain. Okay, let's move on. Kate Middleton has awkward moment in power suit as she makes surprise visit. So they say she had an awkward moment in her power suit. Um, Apparently, Kate wore the same color as the man that is kneeling down there. I thought it was something else because I saw something yesterday and I did not, um, I didn't want to share it because, I'm not, I'm not cruel and it's none of my business uh, what Kate is doing. I don't pay her much attention. God, I can't believe I said that with a straight face.
Wow. Of interest.
I thought that was the awkward moment. Okay. I thought this was the awkward moment. For some reason, all of a sudden, what was that about? Huh? I mean, if she's checking to see if her butt is still back there, I can promise you she doesn't have a butt. There is no behind. So, what are you reaching for? Your car keys? You don't drive. At least you didn't drive there. What the hell was that about? I mean, just all of a sudden, what's that old saying? Don't get your knickers in a twist. I guess somebody got their knickers in a twist. Yeah, somebody's got their knickers in a twist. Twisted, tangled, bunched up, or something. Yeah, just for some odd reason. Maybe she thought she had one of those peekaboo skirts on. Maybe that's what she thought it was. Oh man. Well, I'm sure there's nothing to it. It just maybe that's just like some kind of weird tick she has. You know how sometimes people have a weird tick where they wink their eye or maybe the corner of their mouth kind of twitch or something like that? Well, maybe that's what her weird tick is. That's why she used to love to carry a clutch because if she doesn't have a clutch, then she's likely to haul off and start walking and then all of a sudden whoop. Oh man. Okay. I was just wondering or maybe well, you know, maybe something rolled down, you know what I mean? You know how sometimes you grab the wrong draws, the ones that has that elastic waistband that's kind of stretched out, and you wear them anyway, and they just keep rolling. Maybe that's what it was. Maybe her unmentionables just kind of rolled down on her. So when she was turning the corner, she thought she might have a little privacy and try to push him back up or something. Oh, you think she cut the cheese, huh? Yeah. Anyway, it was very awkward. Uh, Maybe she should have wore a longer jacket if she's going to do that. Oh well. Let's save her dignity and pretend like we didn't see it. Hey, Governor. All right. So anyway, yeah, Kate Middleton has an awkward moment in Power Suit. I thought they were talking about, that, but they were actually speaking about the fact that she and this guy have the same color on. And as you can see, as I said, when she doesn't have her clutch, she don't know what to do with her hands. So she's wringing her hands and wringing them and wringing them. And she's so glad when somebody gives her a chance to talk because then she can stop wringing her hands. Maybe that's why she always have those plasters on her fingers, or as we say here in the US, bandages. Maybe that's why she's always bandaged up, is because she keeps wringing her hands. Well, anyway, whatever it is, she has quite a few nervous tics. If she's not wringing her hands,
Well,
wait a minute, not that one. If she's not wringing her hands, then she's trying to discreetly doing whatever she's doing there. But that was weird, Kate. Even for you, that's weird. Okay, where's Kate Middleton? Where is Kate Middleton? For 172 days, there were no confirmed sightings of Kate Middleton. We've seen body doubles, we've seen grainy photos, we have even seen what was it? The back of somebody's head, because when you're riding down the street and there's someone waiting to take your photo, of course, you're going to turn your head and look at a blank brick wall at the most opportune moment for the photo rather than to face directly ahead as you usually would when you're in the car with William. Well, check it out. Rebecca English, the royal mouthpiece, story of Kate's cancer battle. A year ago, the princess made her unprecedented announcement. Now, for the first time, Rebecca English tells how Kate fought back from battering of cancer. Well, as you can see, that article came out in March. But for some reason, Rebecca English has, pinned it to the top of her Instagram. And I'm just like, yes, okay, it was the 22nd of March. I remember that. She wrote this article on the 21st. So, okay, I'm a year and a few months late. But ever since then, you would think that at the year anniversary, she would actually do more work. And yet, she has still reverted to type and has done very little. While the papers said she was brave, Kate returns to work. How Kate's life has changed. William has been, it's been brutal for us all. The hardest year of my life. New hope for Kate. It's like a soap opera. The Kate Effect. And we know where they got that from. And as you can see, there's a picture of Kate in the carriage, My Fair Katie or My Fair Lady, depending on which character you want to notice. And of course, brave Kate saves lives. How? I don't know. And of course, this was the touching video on March the 2nd. And of course, when people began to question exactly what it means, there is, what's her name? Layoff Kate. She had the nerves to say layoff Kate. So I looked at, one of my favorite things is to look at the comment section of some of those articles. Nobody believes she had cancer, but we're calling it pre-cancer until Harry and Meghan started getting a lot of good press. Suddenly, now she has full-blown cancer. At most, this woman had a mole burned off. Um, Another commenter said, you would think that she was the only one to suffer cancer. Daisy May says, interesting that the journalist said it humanized Kate more. She knows to be very standoffish. I'm sorry, she meant to say known to be very standoffish. Wow, just wow. Had a beer, went to the rugby match, and she must be exhausted. What a joke. Buckle says there's a lot of people still don't believe that St. Catherine and Charlie Boy had cancer, and it was a stunt trying to garner support for the monarchy. Well, this is what we do know is that after the book Endgame came out, that was when the monarchy was under 50% popularity. That was an all-time low for the institution. 50%, it was 48% to be exact. And I would say that if there is any um, truth to the idea that they just use these illnesses to get public sympathy, which of course we'll probably never know. But if that is true, um, I believe it did work for them. And the timing of the announcement, where they announced two surgeries in one day, and the fact that those surgeries should have been considered non-emergencies, but they went ahead and announced them on the same day. And also, well, at least they said that Kate's was a non-emergency, but that whole thing, I'm not even going to go into how that seems like it's not true. But either way, the fact that the head of state was having surgery, that of course is news, even though Queen Elizabeth never disclosed stuff like that. Um, but Kate is not that important to the institution when it comes to official acts and duties. So, why they announced her on the same day as Charles, that goes to show that there was no communication between the two royal households. And then, of course, they told us neither surgery had anything to do with cancer. Kate's abdominal surgery, Charles and his prostate. Now they won't tell you what kind of surgery or actually what kind of cancer Charles has. And as far as Kate is concerned, still, they're not going to tell you what the surgery was or what type of cancer. Some more comments. It's time to move on. It's great that she overcame it and all, but why is she being flowered with endless praise while Charles, who is older and thus has a weaker immune system, also battled cancer and kept working without fanfare? There seems to be an agenda. And then, of course, I'm sick to death of hearing about Kate. She had immediate attention and the very, very best possible care. How many women have known there was something wrong, but not taken seriously? Been misdiagnosed, had to wait for treatment, by which time it was too late? Well, I certainly know of two, and please God, may they rest in peace. You see, this is not without consequence. The whole idea of the sympathy thing, which I believe that for the most part, the fact that we even know about it has to do with their vying for sympathy. Because I look at it like this: Queen Elizabeth didn't disclose anything, Philip didn't disclose anything. Okay, that's their prerogative. And the public was okay with that. But to get sympathy, they had to tell us that both of these royals were in the hospital, but they won't tell you what kind of cancer they had, even though that disclosure could help tens of thousands, if not millions of people over time. They just don't want to talk about it. That's breathtaking. Let me see. Unfortunately, Charles and William, Kate and Camilla want to have deniability. So this is the way they frequently communicate. A detailed knowledge of the relationship they have with the public in question and the writer as well, speaking about um, Rebecca English, as well as an assessment of purpose, God, that's small, of the info is required to calculate the probability they are the source. Make no mistake, members of the family all leaked to the newspapers. I personally think this is another reason to get rid of them. The gaslighting is intolerable. The note that the let me see, and note the majority of these mind games relate to nothing of critical importance, just throwing each other under the bus, apart from leaving us, their employers, in a state of uncertainty. Also gives too much power to the dreadful UK papers and mainstream. It maintains the presence, a pretense that they don't realize they only value is a soap opera. Okay. God, that was small. Oh, my eyes are hurting. And lastly, so we still do not know what kind of cancer Kate had. We were told it was preventative chemo, and yet she has had chemo for 8 months. I will never understand how she still has a wonderful head of hair. So many of my friends and family members lost their hair during chemo. For many women, it is the worst part of it all. I noticed the king has a full head of hair as well. Amazing. Wish this treatment was available to the rest of us. Ouch. Ouch, Rita from Bonn, Germany. Yeah, exactly. The two people accused of being racist were the two people that just happened to have cancer treatment at the same time. And again, they did not have to tell us that Kate was ill. Kate has gone months without public appearances, and the public barely noticed. So there was no rationale for telling us that she had surgery. It was not necessary. They did that because they wanted the sympathy. That's why they did that. And then, what was it, 40 minutes later? I don't remember the time because I was actually off of my phone and everything at that point. But then, that same day, a short time later, they tell us that Charles is having prostate cancer, prostate surgery. In both cases, they do not have cancer. They do not have cancer. They do not have cancer. By February the 5th, Charles has cancer. By March the 22nd, Kate has cancer present, which turned into cancer when they realized that they needed more sympathy. Still, we don't know. Like someone said, did she have a mole removed or did she actually have cancer? so much about what Kate said contradict back and forth. And then, of course, there were a few medical doctors who said that it was the information contradict. It was contradictory information. It didn't make sense. The whole thing did not make sense. Yeah, precancer that kept her hidden for months while Charles was still seen working. This story has a hole so big you can drive a truck through it. You could drive um well, what's his name? Robert Jobson. Yeah, it has a hole in it so big you can push Robert Jobson or roll him through it. That's how big the hole is. Hey, Legs. Legs says Kensington Palace was in a spiral from the beginning of the year. Kate didn't attend the Shaping Us campaign events and that she organized. I contend that it had to do with the release of the files. Yeah, maybe that's what it was. Oh, you guys, I don't know about you all, but all of this it's no wonder that it has turned into a real tinfoil hat moment. It has turned into that of conspiracy because there's just a lot of inconsistencies. And I would love to have someone accurately fill in the blanks. Yes, and speaking of filling in the blanks, over 800 people in the chat and only 311 likes. Is that what we're doing? Come on, you guys, hit that like button. That's how we keep the lights on around here. Hit that like button. As a matter of fact, because you guys have been very supportive, I was able to help my niece go on a trip with her school to Washington, D.C. and New York City. Yeah, I was so glad to be able to contribute to that. And of course, my sister, who passed away last year, um, she had actually told me about it. And I said, yeah, whatever I can do, I'll do it to help. And so it really meant a lot to us that she was still able to go. So, um, yeah, so it's not just supporting, the channel. It has a splinter effect. It spreads, if that makes sense. So do hit that like button. This show is totally free to you, although some of you all do have memberships, which only cost $4.99 a month, and it goes a long way. It helps a little girl go to Washington and New York. And the type of school district, most of the school is white, and with the exception of just a few African American students. And unfortunately, for a lot of families, just it wasn't possible for their kids to go. And my niece was the only African American in the group, which is really too bad because this is the kind of experience that uh, all kids should have, while they're young, they can learn how to travel. I got my wings from my grandmother. My grandmother took my cousin and myself to Disney World and Disneyland back in the 70s. And that was the first time I had ever flown anywhere. And, my grandmother taught me how to roll my clothes up in case I have to wear them again. They'll still look neat and all that kind of stuff. So that's the kind of stuff you learn when you travel. Plus, you learn what it's like to be away from home and in a whole nother space. So, um, let's see. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I just wished her grandma could have been here to see that. That would have been amazing, but well, it wasn't possible. But yeah, because if it wasn't for her grandma, the whole idea of it, I don't think anybody else in the family knew that there was anything like that. So in the future, um, now that she's in high school, they're going to go to Europe. So I don't know when, but that may be a couple of years from now. So as soon as we find out the particulars, we're going to start putting the fund together so she can do that too. And hopefully, again, she won't be the only African American in the group. I hope, because that's an experience that everyone should have, is to be able to travel like that. Let me see. Oh, let me see. I think Kensington Palace was in a nosedive because after Williams assaulted Kate allegedly in December, no one knew what Kate wanted to do or what William wanted to do. Did she want a divorce? Would she stay? They didn't know. Is there a part two? Then Kate didn't show up for events. The palace didn't mention her birthday. Ooh, wow, Legs, you've been keeping track. Then Charles III giving praise as the daughter he always wanted. I remember that. And they said that they had lunch. Do you remember that? Giving her honors for, yep, she got an honor. Legs, you have a photographic memory. Yep, that's about the order of things, isn't it? Wow, Legs, that is impressive. That is impressive. Uh, Revolting how they use serious disease as PR stunt just to garner sympathy. It is very suspicious. It is very suspicious. Uh-oh. I see Pippa. And you know what? Speaking of Pippa, remember, while they were criticizing Meghan for going on with her life, Pippa went to the beach. There's those lovely photos of Pippa flexing that muscular body of hers on the beach down in St. Bart's or wherever she went. And riddle me this. This is still, I mean, you guys, we could talk about this all night. You know that, don't you? There is still that curious thing about not seeing Charlotte and Louis from Christmas Day until Trooping the Colors. From Christmas Day to Trooping the Colors, there was not a sight of Louis or Charlotte. And there were maybe 3 or 4 occasions when we saw George going to whatever events with his father. But not one sighting of Charlotte and Louis. Now, as the heir to the throne, if there were some, and I'm saying if, because this is all alleged for the lawyers listening, if for some reason there has been marital problems, the heir to the throne certainly would be with the future king. And the other two, the spares, well, if Harry's book is any indication of how people are treated, who cares where they are? They're not important because they are likely to never be king or queen. But be that as it may, it's just mighty curious that mother, daughter, and youngest son, there were not one single present a public sighting of them, not even Easter. I thought, and this is so strange to me that this didn't happen. You're the future king. You want to reassure the nation that the continuity of the throne is intact. And yet you did not bring either of those three children or yourself. Nobody went for Easter. A family of five. Okay, I get Kate is whatever Kate is, even though she looked pretty healthy sitting on the bench. Um, what was it, March the 22nd? Kate, who was seen leaving the farmer's market, setting a new land speed record for a mammal on 2 feet. Remember that lady that was smiling and skipping on her way out of the farmer's market? The lady that they said was at some sports event with her children. The lady who they said were doing school runs and all those other things could not appear on Easter. Not even a private entrance into St. George Chapel. She couldn't go, which means that her children could not go, which means William was not going to go. Easter. The future head of the Church of England cannot even go to Easter in 2024. I thought that for certain that they would have made some kind of appearance to reassure people. But no, they did not come out. None of them. Oh, does anybody remember that? I don't remember what it was either. Uh, uh, yes, Legs, the Carol event. The kids looked um the kids looked very serious and very sad at the Christmas Carol. That was very hard to watch. Those kids looked very bad that night. They did. They looked well, of course Charlotte looked absolutely angry. Even in the car leaving, Charlotte could not muster a smile, but except for maybe one time, I think when her father spoke to her or something like that. Um, the appearance of it was shocking. The whole appearance. And don't forget when the Christmas Carol that year, 2024 and 2023, they both arrived separately. Kate arrived first, and then William and the children. Kate first, and then William and the children. So I don't know what that means. And I don't even mean I mean, okay, let's say you don't want the whole family in the same vehicle because of the law of the rule of secession and everything. Fine. William could have traveled with um, any of the children, and Kate could have traveled with any of the children. But instead, not only did Kate get there first, she went in the church and then came back out to greet the rest of the family. And even if you're worried about the rule of secession, you have William and all three of the kids in the car. Kate will never be queen without him being king. So even that doesn't make sense that they did not arrive together. They got vehicles big enough for that. It didn't make sense that they didn't arrive together. Legs, we're going to have to do another live together because you got a lot of information. You and Hazel and Cookies and Cream and who else? But it's a few of y'all that are right on top of it. Antoinette, we got to do that again one day when we can all kind of. I'm trying to think what would be a good date. Maybe Troop in the Colors. Maybe to kind of or something or something. We'll find a good date to do that, and I'll give you guys some notice. Yeah, I'll give you guys some notice because I don't mind hashing over all this stuff again. I find it very interesting, all of the inconsistencies. There you go. The 173 days Kate was away left a huge hole in the nation's heart. Natasha Livingstone on the shock felt inside and outside palace walls during the Princess of Wales cancer battle or whatever it was. That's what I think they should always say, cancer or whatever it was. Cancer or thereabouts. Cancer or something in that neighborhood. They should always follow up with that because we really can't be sure, given all the inconsistencies. But there you go, the 25th of December, 2023. March the 10th, the Franken photo. March 22nd, there she is doing the impersonation of a Renaissance Jesus painting. And then, of course, June the 15th, Troop in the Colors, My Fair Katie. And notice, you know what? Notice they don't even show the farmer's market. If you're going to put all of these appearances, why not the farmer's market? Is that because we know it wasn't Kate? You notice that? You notice that the farmer's market photo is missing from that front page? Where's the farmer's market? And the day before the farmer's market video photo, the day before that, they read an article saying that Kate was at some sporting event with the children, and they had that picture of Kate holding Louis's hand and Charlotte's hand as though she was at some kind of picnic or something. And they did not mention the fact that that photo was a couple years old or a year old, right? That was buried into the article however many pages away, right? But the squad had already knew that photo was not new. And then, of course, the video from the farmer's market came from someone who just happened to be there, someone of a foreign extraction who was at a farmer's market very randomly by himself on a Sunday or whatever day that was. And he alone was the only person with any type of ability to record Will and Kate, or Will and whoever that woman was. Nobody else at the farmer's market seemed to notice they were there. Nobody. And then on top of that, there was this very grainy image as though he was using like a second generation iPhone instead of something new. Now, this guy, I think, wasn't he media something or some kind of electronics guy or something where he would definitely have the latest technology. And yet, just like Kate and her mother in the car, the only photo, in this case video, is rather grainy and rather hard to interpret in bright daylight. How is that possible? And then this person that was with William is practically skipping. Kate cannot do any work, but she's practically doing a cartwheel into a split coming out of the farmer's market. Lex says, remember Louis' birthday photo, and NBC took theirs down. Oh, thank you, Lex. Let me see here. Yeah, there we go. Thank you very much for that. But it was just like, this person is moving so fast. If she can move that fast, Kate can go to work. They're constantly piling up one story after the next about all this stuff as Kate is doing. And then almost in the same breath, they'll say, don't expect her to come back out to work. She ain't out of the woods yet. It's a day-to-day basis. And then I guess whatever negotiation that was happening with Will and Kate and their marriage, they had the nerves to say she may not ever come back. And then, okay, that didn't land that well. So then they said, well, she's never going to be a full-time royal until the very last child has finished, was it college or high school? Do you remember that? They said she's not going to be a full-time royal until, in other words, she's not going to work half as much as Queen Elizabeth until she feels like it. And even then, there's going to be residual effects. That means that she's on a day-to-day basis. I guarantee you that'll come up. Oh, the stuff they got away with. And right there, all along, helping to perpetuate this fraud was Rebecca English, the mouthpiece for the institution. There was Rebecca English time and time again helping to shape the narrative. Allegedly, but possibly and likely, setting the agenda for the talking points of the day. Rebecca English. When people say they didn't see William at the hospital ever, it was Rebecca English who was on her way to her Ozempics appointment or whatever it was. And she just happened to be in the neighborhood because she just happened to have a doctor's appointment herself. And she just happened to look over and have made eye contact with William. She declared that she saw him herself. Okay. Uh-huh. Okay, and remember, William and Carol had lunch one day. William and Carol went to a pub and nobody took a picture. Yeah, William and Carol just happened to go to a pub together. Maybe that's code for lawyer's office. Yeah, but there was Rebecca English on her way to the weight doctor or whatever the occasion was, daydreaming about the new stuff she can wear and the old clothes she can fit again. And on the way there, she just happened to make eye contact with William. And then, of course, rather than to be very discreet and just say nothing, she goes on that little talk show that they have and says, "Yeah, I saw him myself. And when I was walking down the street and I was hoping to get my Ozempics or whatever she was going to. And I just happened to make eye contact with him. It could happen." Princess Kate displaying commitment to Prince William despite shift away from wearing her engagement ring. And even this smacks of conspiracies. She's just not going to wear that engagement ring anymore. Just, and the thing is, they did not have to report that. I think it's something they want us to know. They're telling us without telling us. There was no reason to mention the fact that this is nothing new. She's been wearing the eternity band. Or is this permanent? Is this permanent that we won't see the blue ring any longer? Is that ring going to George? Maybe they want to keep it out of sight long enough for George to have use of it so that it won't seem weird when George gives it to whoever he marries, right? Because in all likelihood, Kate will still be alive. So instead of taking the ring from her in the future, maybe they're just going to take that ring out of sight long enough because William do not want that ring to be with her anymore or whatever. And this is just, my little hypothetical, alleged, whatever's thoughts. But maybe he just do not want her to have that ring and that he would rather gift it to his son to use in the future. Now, that is highly unlikely. It would be very weird under any circumstance, but what if we never see that ring again? What if we never see it again until whenever? Or maybe no one will wear it. Maybe no one will wear the ring. Perhaps it'll go into the royal collection. It is the personal property of William, I believe. But it's going to be interesting if we never see that ring again. And of course, let us not forget the tiara. Kate has not worn a tiara in a very long time. And the last time we saw a state dinner, it was actually her aunt? Her aunt wearing her tiara, which generally are loaned for life. They are borrowed from the royal collection for life, and they're not interchangeable like that. And even Henry VIII, Squatty Henry VIII pointed out that the fabric, the velvet that was sewn into the tiara is dark brown, Kate's hair color, not Sophie's, which is blonde. As though it was a last minute thing. Oh, here, wear this, girl. Kate's never going to see it again. You wear it. Could that have been William sending a message to Kate since he likes to hang out with Sophie all of a sudden? I tell you, it's just a very curious thing. And I there's like no limit to the possibilities. None. And as Celebrity was saying the other day, where's Kate? Somewhere rubbing up against a tree. What's that? GB News is saying things in code. Why quotes on displaying commitment even there? Like, oh, okay. Let me see. Kate told that little girl in Wales that she was married to Prince William. When the girl asked who she was, that event was a follow up to the article that said Kate would have nothing if she divorced William. Oh, well, it's true. It is true. Women that divorce from that family, you see how poor, what's her name? Um, the York girl, their mama, Sarah Ferguson. You see how poor she is. Constantly needing money. But to be fair, both of the Yorks, husband and wife, never seem to have enough money. With their champagne taste and beer bottle pockets. Oh, well, as long as there is a field of grain, as long as there is a forest full of trees, I'm sure Kate will find something to do with her time. And of course, you guys, you know she has to start making appearances. Who wants to tell us why Kate is going to have to? Actually, it ain't that much time left, but I'll just go ahead and say it. Don't worry about it. You know, Kate had to make an appearance this week because Troop in the Color is coming up, right? So from Troop in the Colors all the way until Wimbledon, Kate's going to be very busy. That way she can justify the rest of the year that she is away. Because y'all know that their vacation, when does their vacation start? It's right after Troop in the Colors, right? And then there'll be a brief interruption with Wimbledon. And then we're not going to see them again until the fall, especially Kate. You're not going to see her again until the fall. Kate is not going to do much work until the fall. And then she'll work up until the Christmas Carol. They'll go to the Christmas Day thing and then off for several months. Only interrupted by Troop in the Colors again. They have a schedule. Oh, I'm sorry. Commonwealth Day and then Troop in the Colors. That's the only thing that's going to interrupt it. If they go to Commonwealth Day. You think they're waiting for the big payday? But William already has $1 billion duchy. William is only going to shift his position from the Crown Prince, the Prince of Wales, to sovereign. But financially, I think that the Duchy of Cornwall was actually in better shape than the Duchy of Lancaster. I think there was more value with the Duchy of Cornwall than there was the Duchy of Lancaster. Charles had really fattened up the Duchy of Cornwall. That much I'm going to give him credit for. All of those estates, all of the dead people money that he took in, he really fattened up the Duchy of Cornwall. The Duchy of Cornwall has grown exponentially over the years. So I'm going to give him credit for that. He definitely you know, had the right people in place to grow that duchy. Yeah, see there? If Hazel says it, then you know it's true. Cornwall makes more money than Lancaster. The Queen wasn't about the money like that, but um, Charles was very much building up that nest. Yeah, that ring is bad luck. That ring is bad luck. Nobody should ever wear that ring. I think it should be thrown into a volcano myself. I think that somebody should take that ring to Krakatoa, Mount Etna, Mount St. Helens, what is it, Kawaii or whatever. Take it to one of them volcanoes and throw it in there and be done with it. Take it to the Marianas Trench with that ring. A matter of fact, they ought to put it in space. They should just launch it into space. Nobody should ever wear that ring. But yeah, I knew Cornwall was huge. Cornwall is a moneymaker. Yeah, and disappear. Yeah, she's gonna disappear until Christmas. And you know what? You know what? We know there's at least one other state dinner coming up, and that is for Donald Trump. If she is not there for that, then we know something. And will she still be on her what do you call it? Her ban from wearing the tiaras at that point? Will she still be banned from wearing tiaras? I told you guys we were going to have some juicy conversation today. I'll pour that tea. NJ, good morning. Yep. Got to have a little tea. Oh, Gollum. My pretty, my pretty. Maxine Lawrence, hello to you too. Wintertime there, right? Okay, you guys, let me see here. What do we have left? Oh, we got a couple things left. Let me keep it moving so we won't be on so late today. I'm going to leave Kate at this point and go on to something else. Let me see. We got the Pope and then some more royal family gossip. And then we'll be done after that. So let me get to this. I don't know how I missed this, but look who's coming to town. That's right. The Bishop of Rome, the Pope, is coming to Chicago the 14th of this month. He's going to make an appearance at the Guaranteed Rate Field, which is the weirdest name for a baseball stadium. Guaranteed Rate Field. That is where the Chicago White Sox play. As you guys know, he is a huge Sox fan. The other day, there was a couple, I guess they were from Chicago, and they posed for a photo with the pontiff. And he donned on a White Sox cap. Yeah, there he is wearing a White Sox cap. And of course, it didn't take long before someone decided that he looked like he was making a his debut as a rap artist. Da 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 da. You got the POPE. Da 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 da. uh yeah. Rub your prayer beads every day. That's it. Rub your prayer beads every day. That's how that song ends. Um uh anyway, that happened. Oh, thank you, Ruth C. And of course, he signed the baseball. Now, I'm not sure. It looks like it says sell the socks, Jerry. I don't think that's real because if you look at the ball he's holding, well, he is holding the black Sharpie, isn't he? But I think someone used that as a way to, you know, mess with the owner of the Jerry Reinsdorf. They're just messing with him by saying that that's what the Pope wrote is sell the socks, Jerry Leo the 14th. That is not what he said. Joan Lawman, thank you so much for being a member, and thank you for the super sticker. Greatly appreciate it. And anyway, here's another view of the couple. And oh, I guess that's his hat to keep because the groom is already wearing a hat. Oh, that was very thoughtful. Well, you know what? They said that this was going to happen sooner or later, that somebody was going to show up with a White Sox cap. Yes. Yes. Isn't that ironic? You know what? It really would have been a threefer because instead of a twofer, it would have been a threefer because Meghan was supposed to be at her event the weekend. So that would have been that all over the news. And of course, the Pope and the occupant of the White House. So yeah, that would have been a big news day. It's still going to be a big news day, minus the Duchess of Sussex. And in case you guys didn't hear it, they're going to reschedule the event for the gala that Meghan was invited to. They're going to reschedule it because of the events in Los Angeles. So, see there. And then, of course, if this didn't scare you, they thought, let's just tell them that it was canceled. But the truth is postponed. So, per riots, right thing to do. Thank you for your comment, by the way. And there is Pope Leo the 14th. That was the Pope at the 2005 World Series. And of course, the White Sox made history by winning the World Series. And anyway, it was a huge event. There was so many people on the streets for the parade celebrating their victory. So that was incredible. But of course, nothing was bigger than the Chicago Cubs. They say that in humanity, there were some gatherings that have been recorded in history as the largest gathering of humanity. And they said that when the Cubs won, that may have been the second or third largest gathering of humanity because there were people all over the country. They had no place to stay, they had no plans, and they just drove through the night to be in Chicago to celebrate. which was probably the biggest celebration of any sports team in the history of the country. It had to have been. That was incredible. And let me just say for the record that the Cubs won on my birthday. Joe Biden won on my birthday. A lot of good things happen on my birthday. I'm just saying. um, and then for those of you from Chicago, you may remember back in 1976, the bicentennial year, the White Sox went with that livery of the red, white, and blue. Well, you can see they turned that into the Pope's symbol instead of the baseball player. Is the Pope swinging his staff and orb and such. So, different take on it. Now, India Hicks. And by the way, thank you, Muriel, for this. Muriel, I tell you, if Muriel was on the other side, we'd be in trouble because she can find some stuff. You hear me? She can find some stuff. If somebody has done some dirt, Muriel is going to find it. And as you can see, thanks to her, we found out there's a little royal thief, an aristocratic thief. Oh, Ruth C., thank you so much for the super sticker, and thank you for being here. There is a little royal thief. Royal thief, Prince Charles and Princess Diana's bridesmaid, India Hicks, admits to stealing. Sure did. Royal thief, Prince Charles and Princess Diana's bridesmaid, India Hicks, admits to stealing an $867 designer coat from Harrods. Harrods of London? Is there no decency left? Yes, she stole something. Now, I don't know the circumstances because I didn't read the actual article, but she's shadier than I thought she was. This is the one who encouraged, what's her name, to let her hair down, Brooke Shields. Oh, boy. Although it didn't look like it took much prodding, Brooke Shields was ready to tell the story anyway. That whole little setup, the way she said, you may have to cut this out. Y'all might have to cut this out later. I don't know. We'll see. Socialite India Hicks, who was bridesmaid at Charles and Diana's wedding, admits shoplifting a 680-pound Max Mara coat from Heathrow's Harrods. Goodness gracious. And Zandy says, it gets worse. The audacity of Charles' goddaughter, India Hicks, to drum up hate against Meghan when she's an actual thief. Like most derangers, she's a criminal. Oh, she's a mother of 5? Some example. Marshall says India Hicks thought she was going to be shady toward Meghan by using stupid Brooke Shields and got exposed herself. India is just like her family, a thief like the rest of them. Hello. Isn't that something? Oh, and by the way, gosh, who is that reporter? One of those reporters. Oh, she's a real monster. She was just working out some of her personal issues today on the Daily Fail. I didn't even read the article, but I saw the headline where she said that at what age is she? 66. Why at 66 I will never have sex again. Yeah, and she's saying why she's happy to retire from sex for good. Let me just say something. With a mug like that, you didn't retire. You didn't voluntarily retire. You were forced into it. And do you have, they have the nerves to make this article about her forced retirement. They have an article about her forced retirement behind a paywall. Why would you put that behind a paywall? Like somebody gonna come out of their pocket to read that mess. Don't nobody want to read about your gross, gruesome bodily functions. Ugh. Connie Balmer. Hey, Connie Balmer. Okay, I just finagled my way behind the paywall. 5 months ago, I had sex for the last time. And when I say the last, I mean final. I am never, ever having sex again. And happily so. Now, are those your words or the unfortunate person who watching? Well, let me was it the unfortunate person that watched your drawers hit the floor for the last time? Is that your words or theirs? Either way, now see, this is so made up. I'd been seduced by the idea of a handsome man finding me attractive, taken in by the initial weeks of love bombing. Love bombing? Girl, ain't nobody love bomb you. Stop playing, girl. Ain't nobody ringing your phone or your bell anymore. If it's not her, then it's what's her name? Sarah, what's her face? If it's not her, then it's somebody else. But all of these old biddies talking about their what's her name? Oh gosh, the one that used to edit the Vogue. Oh gosh, what was her name? Something oh, I can't remember. The one that used to edit the Vogue. Anyway, all of those monsters, those relics, those ancient relics, they could save all of that stuff. Nobody's identifying with you. They make it seem like their problems is everybody else's problem. Their body image issues, their husbands leaving them, their sex life, all of that stuff. All I want to, stop. Stop. I just ate. We'll care nothing about that. Or if I can quote Sweet Brown, where is she at? Where's Sweet Brown when I need her? Oh Lord, how come that ain't working? All right, this is better.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Yeah, so that's what happened. Whoever this guy was that supposedly was love bombing her and whispering sweet nothings, he woke up one day, rolled over and took a look and said,
ain't nobody got time for that.
Yeah. So that is why she has retired. She was forced into retirement. She was forced into She was forced into retirement. She didn't just decide on her own. She was pushed out of the nest. Hey, did you all figure out who that Vogue editor was? It wasn't Anna Wintour. It was for the English Vogue. Showman, I think it was. Oh, she's a mess. That's the one where they said that she wasn't what is that they said? That she didn't look like she should be editing a fashion magazine. uh wait. I'll find her. Oh, she's a real mess. Yeah, it was Showman. Showman. I don't see her first name here. Yeah, but Anna Wintour has Anna Wintour looks the part, but not Showman. She doesn't look the part. Alexandra, that's her name, Alexandra Showman. I would have never. Oh, you found it. Oh, you found it. Thank you. Yeah, I would have never figured that out. Not Alexandra. She doesn't look like an Alexandra. Not at all. I am being so messy tonight. You guys, I am gonna I have to stop. I am being so messy. Messy as can be. I'm having too much fun with it too. But just in case you're wondering who Alexandra Showman, and let me see if I can find her. This is not the person I was just speaking about, by the way. Not the one who wrote the article saying she was forced into retirement. This is an Alexander Shulman. She was an stop laughing. She was the editor of Vogue magazine. This was the equivalent of Anna Wintour for British Vogue. No, seriously. That was the equivalent to Anna Wintour for British Vogue. No, I'm not making that up. That is an Alexander Showman. And just like the other people, she was having issues with her body, and she felt like she should write an article and post this picture, hoping that we would give her our approval. Now, if Meghan had done something like this, do you know we would have never heard the end of it? We would have never heard the end of it. But because it was one of those women that is a confirmed Meghan hater, then of course they can't share enough with the public. Now, just compare the Anna Wintour version of a Vogue editor and then compare that to the other one. I hate to do it, but it's just, you would not, if somebody said, oh, look, there's the editor of Vogue. Anna, with her fashion flair, of course. But the other one, no, just no, no. And she's another one of those Meghan haters. Now, there have been some times when the doubt about her being a Vogue editor was made public, like right here. Schulman took the role of editor-in-chief of Vogue in 1992. Some speculate that she was not experienced enough for the role. Furthermore, others commented on her personal appearance, did not conform to previous Vogue editors, not one of them. As New York Times noted, the British press has made much of the fact that when it comes to personal wardrobe, Miss Schulman could learn a thing or two from Miss Tiberius, trademark Chanel, and that she could also become better acquainted with a hairbrush. It has been noted that it is still remarked upon that she doesn't look like a Vogue editor, like an editor of Vogue. She just does not look like an editor of Vogue. And you know what? I am inclined to agree. How that happened just goes to show you don't have to be good at your job. You just have to show up. And you know what? They probably wasn't paying her that much. You know, Anna Wintour gets a clothing allowance. I think she gets is it $200,000 a year? Something like that. But she gets a clothing allowance. She gets all kind of perks with her job because she looks the part. And you know, she's good at editing. Even Andre Leon Talley said that when it comes to editing, she is phenomenal and she does it all herself. She doesn't require much input. And when she makes a decision, it is made. So, but they say that those Meghan haters, they all have something in common. Judge ye not, and thus ye not be judged. That's what the old adage is. Anyway, I don't know how we started talking about her, but you know what? It doesn't take much. I told y'all we were going to have some tea tonight, didn't I? We just pouring tea all over the place. Okay, let me get back on track here. Where was I at? I was here. So yes, a thief. You know, I never did look at the India Hicks coat thief. Oh, there it is. Oh, Celebitchy wrote about it in 2022. Celebitchy said, India Hicks, Princess Kate's wants to not be given things and has a strong sense of style. Princess Kate wants to not be given things and has a strong sense of style. Okay, what they got to do with the coat, though? Now, let me go find something about them coats. I want to look at that. Oh, 2020, they wrote about it. Okay, that story has been going around since 2020 at least. India Hicks admits stealing a 600. Okay. Socialite. Okay. The mother of 5 who was born in London but moved to the Bahamas with long-term partner David Flintwood. Flintwood? What's weird about that name? Flintstone? flint like you use to light a fire, flintwood. Anyway, why not Fleetwood? In 1996 was taken to court after being charged with, good Lord, you mean to tell me she went to court? In 1996 was taken to court after being charged with theft. Hicks, 53 at the time, pled guilty to Oxbridge Magistrate Court on Monday and was conditionally discharged for 3 months. She was also ordered to pay $85 cost and $22 to victim surcharge. Her address was given in court as whatever that is, a U.S. city in New York. A U.S. Okay. A spokesperson for Hicks said she had been absent-minded and had later returned the coat. Oh, man. Really? They told the Sun, the court accepted that at the time of taking the coat, India had simply been absent-minded and had not intended to leave without paying for it. She was full of remorse for this mistake and was discharged by the district judge. Former fashion model Hicks is the daughter of Lady Pamela Mountbatten, a great-great-grandchild of Queen Victoria and famed interior decorator David Nightingale Hicks. David Nightingale Hicks, interior designer David Nightingale Hicks. Oh, Lord. You know what? I'm just going to leave that one alone. I'm going to leave that alone. I tell you, at the rate they're going, the Christmas walk to church is going to start looking more and more like a pride parade. I'm telling you. Anyway, over recent months, Hicks has shared a look at her glamorous life in lockdown in the Bahamas. So during the pandemic, she was in the Bahamas, boasting an al fresco meal cooked by her children, painting and homeschooling in their airy library room, beach walks, and family games by the beach. Despite being extremely wealthy, Hicks has been labeled unusual as one of the few British heiresses to earn their own income. Yeah, I guess if you go boosting. Huh. Okay. She previously worked for Ralph Lauren and J. Crew and is often featured in Society magazine Tatler. Well, I tell you what, Ralph Lauren and J. Crew should go over their inventory. I'm pretty sure it's some stuff they can't find. Isn't that something? I thought that maybe she just wrote in a book or something like, oh, that one time I forgot to take the coat off. I didn't know that they caught her, that they knew about it. She admitted later returning the coat. Isn't that something? Now, did anybody see her return the coat? Are they sure the coat was returned? She admitted to being absent-minded. You know, not everybody could use that defense. I wonder if Charles went to court to thank everybody before that went to trial. You know, just like Harry got stitched up after his father went to court to thank everybody for working at court, for being in court. India Hicks, thief. She has been branded a thief. Good God. What was she thinking? She just walked out with the coat. Just put it on and walked out. She says she was absent-minded, though. I'm glad she wasn't looking at jewelry. How embarrassing. And then got the nerves to sit up there and have this little conversation with Brooke Shields. Yeah, trying to be clever. Okay, now this is weird. India regularly shows off pictures of her family on social media, including Wesley. Okay, now I see. Let me just show y'all the picture I'm looking at. Let me just show y'all the picture. Do you guys remember was it Sesame Street? Do you guys remember that song? One of these things don't look like the other. One of these things are just not the same. One of these things don't look like the other. Can you name it in a game? Now, how many kids did I say she had? How many kids did I say? Writing in on her blog, India says, I first met Wesley when he was in the womb. His mother was a waitress in a restaurant we used to go to. His father absent. I was also pregnant. Lynn and I became friends. Around the age of 2, Wesley was with us nearly daily. He grew up alongside my own firstborn child, Felix. Despite losing touch when Wesley moved to a neighboring island, she bumped into him by chance at Nassau Airport shortly after, as he was on his way to visit his dying mom. He was on his way to visit his dying mom. 10 days later, Lynn died. India and her son, Conrad, went to the funeral, and it was quickly decided Wesley would move in with India's family. India said he arrived the next afternoon with a plastic bin liner. It held his worldly possessions, none of them important except for a few tattered photos of his mom. While India's life so far has been far from conventional, it's obviously worked out very well for the mom and businesswoman, and she'll no doubt be looking forward to walking up the aisle on her own special day, especially after already being a bridesmaid for one of the biggest royal weddings in the world has ever seen. Well, that explains it. I had no idea. Hazel, did you know about this? I had no idea. Well, well, well. India's full of surprises. Coat thief, um, a blended family. And she's still not married? Is she married or no? You mean to tell me she got a family of 5 and she's never been married? She's got to be like, 100 in line for the throne. Interesting. I never knew this. India Hicks. Wow. Oh, you used to follow her on Instagram? Well, let me see if she's married. Yeah, well, David Flint Wood. So she did marry him. Okay. All right. Well, and that makes it even more disappointing that she would carry on like that with Brooke Shields. That just makes it even more disappointing. Okay, she got married in 2021 during the pandemic. Well, I'm going to have to look at the wedding photos because I want to see if all of her children were there, if you know what I mean. Well, she seems like a very Oh, I see. What? What? And that makes it even more disappointing. Her niece married a black man and had black kids. She adopted this young man into her family. Why are you giving Meghan a hard time? Knowing the type of uh, misogynoir there is in this world, why are you giving Meghan a hard time? And why am I still on here at 2 hours and 18 minutes? Okay, you guys, let me get moving here. I done went down every kind of avenue I could think of. The York princesses, Beatrice and Eugenie, would be great additions to list of working royals. How the heck are Prince William and Kate going to do everything? King Charles was stupid to create a slimmed down monarchy. It would only bring stress, fatigue to the royal family. As you can see here, Graham Smith said there's only one senior military officer in this photo, and even he retired from the Navy 15 years ago. Edward and Anne have never served. William and Charles have never earned rank and medals they're wearing. That's the slim down monarchy. All those uniforms, and only one person, Sir Timothy Lawrence, has ever actually served in the military. This is Queen Elizabeth's idea of monarchy. Look at how full the balcony is. And then there's Charles. The slim down monarchy is a joke. If William and Kate actually worked, then having a slim down monarchy would work. Charles is pushing himself to try to maintain the presence of the monarchy. William and Kate are business as usual. They work when they damn well please. Um, that whole idea was ridiculous. Princess Anne even said before the coronation that instead of slimming down, she's gonna support Charles, whatever. But she did not think it was a good idea, and she said as much. And I'm very sure Charles would rather drink muddy water or sleep out in a hollow log than to ever say to Anne, "You shouldn't have said that." He doesn't want to get decked. Anyway, um, it sounded clever at the time, but as things stand, the monarchy is not working right now. It just is not. Their popularity, I don't care what the polls say, their popularity is low. And as usual, most working people, most average people do not care what they're doing, when they're doing, and where they're doing. They just don't care. They're not part of people's day. It's going to be a long time before those children are able to carry any of the burden of the monarchy. It's going to be maybe 10 or 15 years before there's another royal wedding. They probably would want George to get married first. And if there's any idea that George is going to get married, they're going to make the others wait. They may let Charlotte marry first, but maybe. But if it seems like George is close, I don't think there will be a wedding until after George. And just like with the Sussexes, Beatrice had to wait, or was it Eugenie had to wait 6 months before she was able to marry the bartender. If Graham Smith gets his way, this is going to be the slimmed down monarchy, practically non-existent. And you know what? People are still going to go to Buckingham Palace. People are still going to take pictures. People are still going to make that one of the first stops as soon as they get to town. Whether the royal family is there or not makes no difference. It does not affect tourism. It doesn't have a positive or a negative effect. Maybe on some isolated events, like, I don't know, a wedding, a funeral, and perhaps a coronation, you'll get people to travel. But in spite of that, Britain is way down the line when it comes to tourism. France, Spain, Italy, the United States, and I forget who else makes the top 6. The UK is not even close. More people go to the Palace of Versailles than people that stand in front of Buckingham Palace and Windsor Castle combined. And that's just the fact. The UK is not even that high up on the tourism list. It's hard to believe. I mean, I've been there, I've seen the crowds, but it just does not compare. And if the royal family is such a big draw, then why aren't they higher up on the list? They're just not. The royal family makes absolutely no difference. They could be there or not be there, and it won't affect the numbers of people showing up. Let me throw this one at you. You see there? This is 2023. After the global pandemic, France, 100 million people. Spain, 85 million. United States, 66 million. Italy, 57 million. Turkey, 55 million. Mexico, 42 million. Number 7, the UK, 37 million. China, 35. Germany, 34. Greece, 32. Austria, 30. Thailand, what, 28? Saudi Arabia, 27. Saudi Arabia? Oh, yeah, Mecca. That makes sense. Japan, 25. United Arab Emirates, 24. Netherlands, 20. Malaysia, 20. Poland, 18. See there? UK in 7th place. Thank goodness they got the royal family, because if it wasn't for them, they might be in the 5th place. But could you imagine that? 100 million people going to France every year. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of people. And of that number, God knows how many of them go to Paris. But okay. Let me say this though. When it comes to tourists, Paris and London are neck and neck. They really are. Sometimes it's Paris, sometimes it's London. But they're neck and neck. So to be fair, London gets a fair amount of tourists. But I still say the royals make absolutely no difference to the tourist. They could be there or not be there. Okay. Let me go back. Where was I? Was it here? No. Here. Oh, this jalopy. You know what they say? There are no small parts, only small actors. Well, there are no small plaques, only small duchesses. So I don't know where this was when they took this picture, but was it really necessary? Couldn't they just have said, hold this up? Why do they have that little plaque on that easel, which you could barely see across the room, let alone in this picture? They got that little tiny, eeny, teeny, weeny plaque with her name on it saying that on this day, Sophie, the Duchess of Edinburgh, made a visit to whatever place this is. I mean, what is that for? Is that for a park bench? Is she unveiling park benches now? Is that what she's been reduced to? Is unveiling park benches? But still, even if that is the case, that is far more work than Kate would ever do on any given day. Let me see what that was. Uh oh, what the heck is that? The Duchess of Edinburgh visits Northampton Mountain Bike Park. Ooh, that's impressive. She went to unveil a plaque at the Mountain Bike Park. Wow, that's something else. Sure is. Well, you know what? They say you have to get in where you fit in. And if that's where she fits in, so be it. But I want you guys to remember something. Just the other day, Sophie was practically on her knees. Maybe that's why. Maybe after she unveiled that plaque, she was like, please, please, can I do a battleship? Or can I do a at least a frigate or something, even a dinghy? But do not send me to unveil plaques at a bike trail. How about the Sophie tapes? One of the squaddies says, seeing Tony Blair and William Hague together, I'm reminded of the time when Edward's wife and Tory sympathizer, Sophie Wessex, had time to apologize to them both after insulting them and Tony's wife, Sherry. Sophie also described William Hague as looking deformed. She got her nerves. She got her damn nerves talking about somebody looks deformed. Anyway, yes, the Sophie tapes. They always say she's a good egg, Sophie, hardworking Sophie. Yeah, Sophie also know how to run her mouth. All those things Sophie said on the famous Sophie tapes. What she really said about the royal family, the Blairs, Diana, how she used the royal name to boast, boost that is, her firm's profits, which didn't make a difference because it still went out of business. Her gay PR partners, boys, baking soda, and some other kind of something shame. Every shocking word Sophie uttered to our sheik. Remember, she thought she was speaking to a sheik. My. Sophie, boy, I tell you, the way they have painted this picture of her as this very pious, loving, matronly aid to the royal family and all around good girl. You'd never know it based on how Sophie came into that family, like a whirlwind. You know, she come in there looking like a librarian, but those are the ones you got to watch. You really got to watch them. Sophie's scandal continues. You'd be hard pressed to avoid the Sophie Wessex story, no matter which paper you buy this morning, but it's the news of the world which has the tapes. Among the comments she'd said to have made, Gordon Brown's budget was a load of pap. Okay. She said to have supported fox hunting, saying Tony Blair was ignorant of the countryside and his wife Sherry was even worse. She hates the countryside. Sherry was working as a barrister to keep her hand in the case Labor lost. In case Labor lost the general election. Labor had snuck in so much tax through the back door, the Countess is quoted as saying, ain't that something? She's so quiet, but here you can see she never shut up. Downing Street told us this morning the Prime Minister is focusing on the foot and mouth problem and had no intentions of feeding the media frenzy. Well, sound to me like she got the foot and mouth problem. Huh. Ain't that something? Oh, yeah. Uh, yeah, we missed that part of it. We probably missed that part of it. Anyway, Countess of Wessex is the royal family's secret weapon. Don't y'all forget that. She is going to single-handedly replace Harry, Meghan, and um, Kate Middleton. She's going to replace all of the above mentioned. She's going to replace the Kents, the Gloucesters. That's why she's a secret weapon. The thing is, you ain't going to even see her do it. That's how secret it is. Anyway, you guys, that was fun. A palace statement said in the following career that Edward and Sophie are always open to accusations of exploiting their royal status in pursuit of their own business interests. Both the Earl and Countess vigorously denied that they have deliberately set out to do so. The Queen deplores the entrapment, subterfuge, innuendo, and untruths in which the Earl and Countess have been subjected in recent days. Really, the Queen said all that? Or did she say recollections may vary? Oh, this is the last thing. Sadiq got his medal. I don't know if you guys had a chance to see that. I know I mentioned it, but there's his trinket. That's what he gets for his public service. Yeah, he's finally got his trinky dink. Okay, that's it. Did not mean to be on so long, but the tea was good. Ooh, the tea is good. That was some good tea, wasn't it? I really enjoyed that tea. Little tea and honey. That's what it was. A little tea and honey. Well, good night, you guys. Thank you so much. Sorry we were on so long. God bless. Have a great day tomorrow, or enjoy your day today, whichever comes first. Thank you, moderators, and God bless. Love you guys. I'll see you next time. Oh, really? Okay, well, I had fun. I couldn't wait to come on. I'm just like, ooh, let's make it juicy tonight. Some juicy gossip, some good tea. Okay, cheers.